Okay, welcome to the Cowbridge Kitchen again. What we're going to make today is a form of a beef Wellington. One of my favourite dish if I go out for food or even if I'm just cooking myself. I love beef Wellington. So we're going to do a variation on this Wellington, and we're going to do a dish, a French variation. We're going to do a dish called beef en croûte. Basically a beef Wellington, fillet steak with an inside topping wrapped in puff pastry. Absolutely delicious, dead simple to do. So let me get you over to the stove now and I'll show you how to get this started. So for the filling, what we're going to need is we're going to need a handful of mushrooms, okay, I don't know, 8 to 10 mushrooms, one brown onion peeled, and what we're going to do is we're just going to roughly dice all of these up and then pop them in a food processor. Okay, let's get these sliced up. Okay, so like I said, nothing fancy because they're going in the food processor. Basically all we want to do is just make it a little bit smaller than it is. There we are, like so. And with the mushrooms, you know, just randomly cut them up and throw them in with your onions. Okay, so we're going to want about 50-50, I suppose, 50-50 mix on these. There we are. Okay. I think about one more and we should be good. There we are, let's get them over into the food processor. Okay, so over at the food processor, what we're going to do, we're going to get our lid off it, pop our mixture of mushrooms and onions straight into there now, like so. I'm going to put a splash of olive oil as well into it, alright, just to give it a bit of moisture. And if you want, then you can just season that with a little bit of salt and pepper. Season that up. And we'll process this until it turns into a paste. And there we are. Okay, so our mushrooms and onions, only took a minute there, are all nice and processed. We'll get them out, pop them in the container and keep them for later. So there we go, we've got our mushrooms and onions all made up into a paste now, and smells pretty good. So that's going to be the filling, the inside filling for our beef en croûte. We'll pop that aside. We've got ourselves 2 fillet steaks. Look at them, beautiful steaks, absolutely beautiful. And if you're going to get a cut of steak, get yourself a fillet. I mean, there are some great cuts, ribeye and everything, but for this is what you want. Okay, so 2 fillet steaks. What we're going to do, we've got a griddle pan down here on the stove, and I'm going to seal these steaks off on either side, cook them for about 2 minutes or so, and then we're going to get them cooled down. There we are, so into our pan we are going to pop our steaks. This pan is nice and hot. And I'm going to cook those 2 bad boys there for about 2.5 minutes either side. Let's turn that over. There's our one side done. Let's cook that on the other side now for about 2.5 minutes. And there we are. Okay, so those steaks have been cooking for about 4 minutes. Get them straight off the heat and we pop them onto a plate. Okay, so there we are, our 2 steaks. They've been cooking for 4 minutes, and we'd probably say, I mean, they were blue, I would imagine, just off blue, certainly very, very rare. But we're going to leave them now to cool down at room temperature and pop them in the fridge. There we are, we'll pop them down there with our mushroom and onion mix, and we'll leave them there to cool down at room temperature, and that's basically our prep ready for our beef en croûte. Okay, so we've had our beef that we fried off about half an hour ago or so. That's been cooling down in the fridge now. For about half an hour, like I said, we covered it up, okay, and we've got it there. So we're going to pop this out, and what we're going to do as well, we're going to get our pastry out. And yeah, bought some puff pastry. I'm not going to make my own, it's just easier to buy it this way, okay? So let's get this rolled out, and I'll show you what we need to do to get these steaks to the next stage. Okay, so we're going to get this pastry open, I hope. There we are, we'll cut that with some scissors. We'll pop that out of this packet. We've got a floured surface here, so we're going to pop our pastry block, our puff pastry block, onto the floured surface. Now we'll cover that with some flour, get that coated. So what we need to do with this now is, with the rolling pins, we need to get this rolled out big enough so that it will take the two bits of steak, so we can encase them in the pastry. There we are. So we shall roll this out. I mean, like I say, if you want to make your own pastry, you know, you can. I do have a video on the YouTube channel and the website with a recipe for pastry, but you know what? This isn't about making everything from fresh, this one. This is all about making it good. So I bought it in, and it's going to be fantastic. There we are. I mean, we can roll this out nice and thin as well, so that we can get those two steaks in there. Lovely. There we are. Look at them. So we get our steaks now. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut this pastry into two big squares, so that I can get those steaks encased in the pastry. And what we're going to do first of all, we've got to put our interior topping on. So what we're going to do is put a good teaspoon of these mushrooms and onions onto the pastry, then the steak on top of that, and we'll case it up. Okay, cut that down the centre first of all, and then quarter it up again. So we've got two decent pieces there, and this should be quite big enough to get those steaks on. Okay, what you can do is just give them a little extra roll now, just to make sure that they are big enough, which they are nicely. There we go. Okay, so first thing to do, we're going to get our mix that we made up earlier, and as much, you can put as much of this on as you like. I mean, you want a nice good dollop of that right in the middle of that pastry. Nice big dollop of that right in the middle of the pastry. Okay, then we're going to take our steaks now, and obviously these are cold. Okay, so we're going to put these on top of that and just squash it down slightly. And the same for the other one. Squash that down slightly. And there we are. So what we want to do then is get the pastry and encase the steak now. So fold it over, all the way over, so that you get lots of the pastry all over the steak like that. There we are. Now he's nicely encased. Squash the bottom bit down. You can turn him over, and that is ready to go in the oven. So we'll do the other steak now, and then we'll get them on a tray, and I'll show you what you need to do. Okay, so we've got our beef en croûte parcels all ready made up here now. What we're going to do, we've got a greased baking tray down here. We're going to pop them on there, we'll give them a quick egg wash before we whack them in the oven. And then we'll pop each one onto there, giving it enough room for it to expand. Yeah. And then what we've got is just an egg beaten up, and just with your fingers or a brush if you like, just give it a bit of a coating, just so that goes all nice and brown. All the way around, do both of them. There we go. There we are, and those bad boys are ready to go in the oven, 180 degrees, for about half an hour, 35 minutes. Okay guys, these beef on croûtes have been cooking for about 30-35 minutes or so. Just checked them, looking absolutely fantastic. The puff pastry is risen, look great. Whack them out of the oven now and we'll get them served up. Enjoy.